Hey fellow patriots, welcome back to Hope for Survival YouTube. And in this edition, I'm honored again to have my patriot brother Otis to shoot another video. I have to pay him top dollar big bucks to
I'm expensive.
coax him in front of a camera. And figure we may as well roll a camera since about everything we hang out and talk about is probably to some degree or another video worthy of sharing, because it's all preparedness related stuff for the most part.
And it could always help someone else.
Absolutely. And we actually had that conversation earlier today about part of the purpose in preparedness is helping other people. So we just finished the video talking about solar generators, and I wanted to pick Otis's brain on some other current topics, and one of the hot topics right now is the Texas border control issue, local versus feds, and I shared my thoughts on that with you all a week or two ago, and personally I think that it's a nothing burger for a lot of reasons. Just hopefully some knucklehead doesn't hang out in the bushes and fire a shot and cause a spark to create more problems. But I think that the border issue is going to bring a lot of attention to a lot of people who maybe weren't paying attention before as to a lot of local problems. What do you think?
I think it is a very important subject. Your local border is being neglected by your federal agencies. And I mean, there's a pretty big impeachment case right now about some of that. And then the governor down there was putting up razor wire and Constantine wire all around, trying to at least funnel them to certain areas, and a certain organization made them take some of it down.
Yeah.
I believe that it should be their right to protect their area, and when the other agencies aren't. Right now we're having a record of immigrants coming across, undocumented people, 300,000 a month right now. And that's your regular news stations publishing that. The ones that are controlled by the people that aren't necessarily think the same way we do. They're record amounts of people coming across. And it is just totally ridiculous. And it's taking all of our funds for people who need it, who are regular American citizens, and it's wasting it. You know, I don't have a bit of problem with someone coming across legally.
Yeah.
Go through the process, become a legal, resident, and then you can pay your own taxes. But for me to have to spend all of my tax money supporting someone else, it's a slap in the face. And all that is leading into some giant inflation that we've been suffering through for several years. I mean, it's
Higher crime.
yes, definitely higher crime, because so many of them are undocumented and you don't know who they are, and then they come across and don't have jobs. What are they going to do? And then a whole bunch of them are drug cartel.
Yeah. Schools being closed down.
Yeah.
To bring the children, coming across to bring these children into these schools. It's crazy. Veterans and others being moved out of shelters.
I was watching, you bring that up, I was watching the news this morning, and they were talking about a shelter in a certain city, I won't name any names, where some of these people were being bused to by the governor of Texas. And they had took, and certain people in that certain state were trying to get housing and shelters for their homeless population and their veterans, and trying to get this remodeled and built for years. And now all of a sudden there's funds to do it, but for illegals. They took a gymnasium and turned it into a awesome homeless shelter, but it's for illegals. And it really has a lot of people in that certain state, in that certain city, really up in arms about it. I mean, they're not happy at all. And several of them were well-to-do citizens who were pretty aggravated by the whole situation.
So what is the difference between a homeless American and a homeless illegal immigrant?
In my opinion, the homeless American, number one, is an American. They were here first. It probably at some point, either they paid taxes or their family paid taxes, and they should get some type of care from that.
Yeah.
Some type of assistance. Someone who is a homeless, illegal, undocumented, however you want to phrase it, has not put anything into the system. And they are here illegally. They are breaking the law.
But they have unlimited coverage because the federal government.
And they're just throwing money out, giving it to them.
Yeah.
When they keep telling us our Social Security system will be out of money in 10 years, but the illegal money system will be there forever.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
And I'm like you, as long as you stand in line. I mean, that's how we all got here. You know, but just as we're expected to obey the law, obey the rules, have a job, pay taxes,
But they're not expected to.
right? And they're just wavering.
And no one is holding them accountable for it.
No one's holding the government accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when
And
you
they
do
work
have a
for us.
local, when you have a local system that tries to do anything, they get penalized.
Yeah, and you can't. It won't be long before we're not going to be allowed to have this conversation.
Oh yeah, that don't surprise me a bit.
So down in your community, he lives in another state, several hours from here, and down in your community, when you and the missus go out shopping or you hear family discussing it, what are you hearing as far as what they're seeing from food lines, cost, and so forth?
It's not just food; it's whatever you go shopping for. The cost of everything is through the roof. You can go. The wife and I just went to the grocery store the other day. We went in there, and each one of us walked out with a bag in each hand, and it was almost $200. And we buy the store brand stuff.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous the price of everything, how much it's gone up.
Is that from a chain store?
That was from a big box chain store, and we bought all the store brands, but it was still.
And you had 4 bags.
We had 4, regular size grocery bags each, and it was almost $200. And that's crazy.
So, maybe conversations from church, and folks you're around, families with kids and so forth. How are these people making it?
They're having a hard time. I know that one of the first things that gets affected is people's tithing to church because everything's so expensive.
Yeah.
And I know that ours has been down recently. I know that our children and grandchildren are on a very limited budget, and they've been having some challenges. And just the people I work with, they've been having some challenges. It's hard to meet ends right now, and you have to really think about what kind of resupply you've got. I know in some of our past videos we've talked about gardening and hunting and everything and how we can resupply some of our food. But that's not everything. You've got medicine, you've got all kinds of stuff you have to think about.
Well, yeah. And especially for people or families, whether it's one person, your age doesn't matter really. If you're just waking up and getting started, right? For many of us we've been around for a while, we've been able to garden, we've been able to can, hunt or buy from the farms to get, fresh chicken, beef, and so forth. But for these families, they haven't had their first garden yet, and they haven't gone hunting for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're struggling between healthcare, rent, or a mortgage, and buying food. I've gone in the grocery store several times up here on my end, and I often observe, especially, there's a lot of grandparents raising their grandkids, right?
Yeah, you see a lot of that.
A lot of that. And grandparents are on fixed incomes.
Mm-hmm. You see a lot of them, not just grandparents, but you see parents with children that went to college, ran up these giant college bills, but yet they can't get a good job, so they're still living at home.
They're living at home.
Mm-hmm.
But how? There's a lot of things in this that are troubling Otis. Number one is, this is America. No one should be hungry. No one should go to bed
You
at
shouldn't
night
have to. There's too much resource.
Or hungry, right?
Yeah.
But the thing that's troubling is we've watched food prices escalate in the last 3 years, right?
About 40%.
A 60-cent can of beans is now $1.40, right? But here's the troubling thing. If you go look the last year or 2 years, 3 years, all of these major food chain providers, they're all reporting record profits.
Yeah. Wonder why.
So that says to me,
that their cost basis may have stayed the same.
yes, and
And they're doing a little capitalism.
It's all BS.
They're capitalizing on some.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with anyone
Making a profit.
That's what it's about. But
Abusing the system.
when you have a store in a small community, such as the one I live, when you have a store in a small community that's a chain store and not a family-owned store, first thing is get off the chain store and go shop locally with the
When it's
family-owned
available, yeah.
store when you can. But when you see managers in these chain stores who know their customers by name, and they sit and they hear these stories, and they see their grocery carts diminishing in volume, but this checkout slip going up,
Is more than it used to be.
and it's like, well, I have to have a job too, or is it you're part of the problem? I know they don't set the prices, but
I'm sure they have some kind of input somewhere.
it is breaking the back of the middle class and the poor.
No, I agree.
So you can't afford groceries, and now we're talking about, hey, you know what? We're getting ready to go into garden season.
Mm-hmm.
You need to start prepping seeds and making a plan and how you're going to lay out your garden. Where are you at on that right now, by the way?
Funny you bring that up. I had just, a friend of my wife's had contacted us, wanting us to help them do an evaluation of their property because they're wanting to start gardening.
Cool.
So we went out there 3 weeks ago, and we helped them pick out a spot, mostly in relation to where the sun comes up in their yard, how much sun usage they would get, because your plants won't grow without sun. I ran into a problem last year because I was trying some new experimental stuff with growing, and I was trying to grow sunflower seeds and grow some sunflowers to use them for two different purposes. One, to feed chickens, and the other to make my mother-in-law happy. And I found out real quick that they get rather large, and they blocked all the sun to my tomatoes. So I went in and I limbed them, and then all of a sudden my tomatoes were getting enough light and they started producing. So you have to be careful where you put what in location to the sun in your garden. Because I'd always put my corn on the bottom end because I knew it was tall, but I didn't think that the sunflowers would have enough limbs to block that much sun. And then after doing some more research, you have to trim them to make them produce even more sunflowers. So I learned two different things. But we helped a friend of ours lay out their garden, where to put it in relation to the sun, in relation to the trees in their yard, also their soil and what type it was, what ingredients they would want to add to it, any prep they needed to do now as far as breaking the ground up and what to add to go ahead and get it started. And what they were basically going to do was they were just going to make a very large raised bed garden that was more like 30 feet wide, 60 feet long. They were going to put cross ties on it, and then we were going to add some material to it. And then I helped him mark a few trees that he was going to drop just to, give more sun coverage and get the tree canopy down. And then as far as my own personal garden, I took down all of my electric fence to keep the deer out. I got all that down, all my insulators, all my rebar pipes, starting to cut down some of the weedage that's left. And then I tried this new thing, solar pacification, where I put a very large piece of clear plastic over the top of it and I cook it. And that really helps kill your weed seeds. And it helps compost your garden even faster just by using the sun instead of using chemicals for weed control. So, and then we've started getting our plan together on what seeds we're going to plant where. And we do save a lot of our heirloom seeds. So probably next month we'll start growing some in the house to do set outs with.
So earlier, we were having a discussion earlier today regarding water wells, and had mentioned that a few years ago on Hope for Survival Zoom back in the early years.
Back in the good old days.
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, back in the good old days. Back in the good old days. One of our Hope for Survival Patriot Sisters, this was a discussion on if there's an EMP and losing the ability to get water out of their well. And you were sharing something with me earlier today. I mean, we had talked about the system back then of the PVC, drop down and dip, and the lid flips and you pull the water out. But
yeah, good hand drawn. If you had a well.
Yeah, you were sharing a system with me earlier today.
Yeah, I'm a big flea market junkie. I love buying used things at a good price, and I even like getting some new things at a good price. And my wife and I, we were visiting the flea market just not too far from where Brother B.E. lives, and a gentleman had these PVC hand-drawn pumps, and they were designed to go either in a 55-gallon drum or a IBC tote, and they had the adapters, everything, and it was a large piece of PVC with a thinner piece inside, and it was hooked up as a suction system to where you could draw it and then push it, and each time it would suck water out. So I have a rain catchment system off of our gutters of our house, and my first means of procuring it is it's gravity fed into some IBC totes that are buried, and then to get it out of that to take it to my garden, I have some more IBC totes on a trailer. Well, I have a bilge pump system that's all 12 volt that is set up on solar power now. That pumps it into the IBC totes, and then I drive them up to the garden and pump them back out with the same system. All 12 volt, all solar. But in the event of an EMP and my pumps get fried, I can use this hand-drawn pump to at least get water to supply us. Not necessarily the garden, because that's a lot, but at least we wouldn't do without. And then we also have a 12-inch bored well on the property. It's on the other side, close to my in-laws, and we could use the same thing there as the last ditch. I would prefer a solar jack pump first, or a regular hand pump. But if that didn't work, I could still run this PVC down there with a hose, and I could suck it out. It'd be a lot of work, but at least I wouldn't go dry.
Mm-hmm. And they were fairly inexpensive.
I got these things for $5 a setup, brand new, still in the package. I bought every one he had. You can't beat that. And that's one of the things. Going to a flea market, buying secondhand, it's not a disgrace. I do it all the time. You can pick up some deals. Flea markets, garage sales, estate sales, you can find good used equipment. And my wife even bought her a new pocket knife. So,
you showed it to me from about 15 feet away.
mm-hmm.
So looking at what you held up in the bag, how hard would it be to replicate it?
Now, I haven't looked inside of it to see what all the interior parts are. But as far as the adapters and the different pieces of PVC, you could go to a regular hardware store and you could make one yourself, unless there's something inside of it that I haven't seen yet. Because I know from messing with my IBC totes that you can buy all the adapters that will screw in, and then it was the same size diameter as the PVC pump, and then it had a smaller piece of PVC inside. Now, whether there was any special washers or grommets, I haven't seen that yet. And then at the top for the spout, you could just tee off with a regular elbow or a T and run you out spout, and then have your top pull handle come out of it.
Yeah.
So it's basically a push-pull siphon system. So unless there's something that I haven't seen yet, you could probably remake it yourself. But now it will cost more than that $5, I guarantee you.
Oh yeah.
That PVC will be a lot more than
PVC is
that.
not cheap.
Especially the adapters to screw in that are all threaded.
Right.
Now, I got a deal on these. And the man was happy to sell them. They don't tell him how long they've been sitting on his table. And probably nobody even knew what they were.
So
Because water is a very important resource.
oh yeah. Yeah, sometimes it seems like a lot of folks who have been preparing for a little bit, not new. But it's almost like the two things they take for granted are water and medicinal.
Mm.
You know, well, I'll just run to the store and I have 10 cases of water in my closet.
And that's not going to last long.
Well, how long has it been sitting there?
Yeah.
How old is it? How you go flush your toilet, if at all, and then what?
Exactly.
Well, we have a stream or we have a pond. Okay.
Have you ever carried water?
How you gonna move it?
This does 8 pounds a gallon.
Yeah. So you're 70 years old, and you've got 4 people in your house, and multiply how many gallons a day you need times the weight. How are you going to move it to your house?
Exactly.
Right? And how you going to protect it?
How you going to get out there to get it and get it back if it's a bad situation?
Yeah. And then when you get home, you're in an apartment.
Mm. And you got to go up all them stairs.
Yeah. Hope you got a lot
You ain't going to need no gym membership then.
Yeah. You look like Popeye.
People don't understand the physical fitness aspect that's going to be needed when there is no more electricity, when there is no more gasoline, when there is no more running water. You're going to be demanded on physically immensely more than you are now.
Yeah.
Me and my wife, we've been exercising like crazy these last 6 months, just trying to get prepared. Not to mention the health benefits, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got grandkids. I'm trying to keep up with them. They're killing me.
Well, just in normal times, none of this crazy world stuff. In day-to-day life, the average person, us, you know, we have daily stresses that maybe other people they don't have. You know, retire, when you're going to retire, travel, sick family member without a job, trying to help out another family member.
Everybody has different scenarios.
And just in routine life, these things weigh on you, right? And just walking 3 or 4 days a week to get some fitness is going to help you with those.
It helps lower that stress level. It helps you stay in shape better. Helps lower that blood pressure. Maybe get you off some meds.
Yeah.
Help you sleep better. Sleep, clean water, and clean air are big things.
Eat better.
Yeah.
Eat healthier. You know,
One of the things we're trying to do as far as our diet, if you can't grow it or kill it yourself, don't eat it. Stay away from all that processed food. You can't always do it, but if you try, at least you're making some effort.
Yeah.
That's why I enjoy having my garden. Yeah. I know what gets put on my stuff.
Well, and even though gardening is hard work and you sweat, especially after a long day of work,
it is.
It's so fulfilling.
It is to me.
Go out there early in the
to
morning.
See what you can grow.
Up. Yeah,
I love it.
It's like, man, these are God's fruits.
Just like my food plots I grow for the deer. When we go out there in September, October, and see them giant green fields, I love it. It is so beautiful.
It is, man.
The good Lord really does bless you.
Oh yeah. Well, Otis, it's been good, man.
As always.
It's been good doing this. It's been good getting some time together today, as always. And appreciate you all taking time out of your trip to come over and share with the old folks.
I always enjoy spending time with you, and always enjoy doing the videos, because if anything I can do can help anybody, I'm more than willing.
Yeah.
My father told me that a long time ago.
It's important.
It is. If
really
anything I can do can save one life or help anybody anyway, it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey out there, thanks for your time. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with Otis and myself, and much appreciated. If you got any comments, leave them down below. If you like the content of this video, hit like. It actually helps out. It's not just hitting a button and numbers, but sometimes looking and trying to figure out what information people like. I know the number one priority is everyone likes fear porn to get their blood pressure up, and if you haven't figured out by now, you're probably not going to get that on this channel. I'll be truthful with you, and but I'm not into clickbait and all that, but stay safe out there. Have a great week coming up. Hit like, leave a comment, subscribe, and be blessed, and most of all, don't forget to give thanks. Otis, thanks again, brother.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. If you are new to Hope for Survival, you can check out our books at our webpage. Book 1, which is Hope for Survival, Getting You Prepared for Disasters, and Book 2, Hope for Survival, The Mindset, are both available for order on the website. We also offer the Hope for Survival football stick, which is a memory stick set up as a digital filing cabinet with files already loaded on there for you to digitally copy items such as deeds, auto transcript for ownership, wills, living wills, loans, banking information, items that if your home burned down or you had some form of a disaster, you could have all your important papers already digitally filed on this stick. All you do is simply drag the digital file into the appropriate preset folder so that you'll have it in the event of a disaster. You have to flee your home in a hurry, or also if you're away from home and you need critical information that's personal, if you have your memory stick with you, you can put it in your computer and pull that information up wherever you may be. Again, you can find these items to order at our website, https www.hopeforsurvival.com, or you can email me at preparedness101@protonmail.com, and I will try to help you out. Again, thanks for checking out the Hope for Survival YouTube channel. Hope to see you again.